Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Cow Emporium, where we catch up with our son Tanner, who has moved to Japan from small town Alberta. On November 27th, 2021, he packed up everything he owned in 2 suitcases, and we loaded him up to the airport and dropped him off. His flight took him into Tokyo, where he spent 10 days in quarantine in a hotel room doing online classes and getting to know the Jets online a little bit better. And they had some fun, for sure. So in this video, I asked Tanner some questions, which he answered for me quite well. Not all the questions have pictures, so I threw in some pictures of his stay in Japan so far for you to enjoy.
What's the first thing you wanted to do when you arrived at your town, and have you done that? So the first thing I wanted to do was visit the ocean, and yes, I've done that. I did that my very first day. I live in Kuroshio, which is just right along the coast, and my drive to work basically just winds around the ocean, and it's really beautiful. On hot sunny days, the ocean sparkles kind of like a jewel, and it's hard to keep my eyes on the road. It's just so beautiful. What do you do? So, if you're unaware, I am a ALT for the JET program. Outside of gobbledygook, I am a assistant language teacher for the Japanese exchange and teaching program. So my job is to work with a Japanese teacher of English in English classes and basically help out with the lesson, help out pronouncing English, help plan lessons, and also kind of like show my culture. So I'm Canadian, so that means like show the kids what it means to be Canadian, and not just that though, you can also like share what you like as an individual. Like for example, the other day I showed the kids at my school some music videos done by Imagine Dragons, and they found that really interesting. So how do you like the area that you live in? So I live in Kochi Prefecture in Japan. So Kochi is located on the eastern side of Shikoku, and Shikoku is kind of an island that's off the coast of southern-ish Japan. I like it. There is a little bit of a scary thing living along the coast here, which is like the Nankai earthquake. It's basically this big disaster that's supposed to occur within 30 years, which is a little bit scary, a little bit concerning. But it's really beautiful here, and the people, like, as far as Japanese people go, people in Kochi are really laid back and really friendly and not so serious, and definitely a little bit informal. Maybe they'd be considered the rednecks of Japan. I don't know. Probably not, but they definitely a lot laid back, and they take really good care of foreigners, I would say. But probably they just take good care of people in general in Kochi. So yeah, I really like it here. It's beautiful. You should visit here sometime. The funniest thing that has happened to you or that you've done so far. So the funniest thing that has happened to me would be an incident that happened at a coffee shop. So my boss and a coworker of mine were hanging out at this coffee shop, and it's kind of right next to a train station. It's a pretty popular place for people to meet up. So high school and junior high and elementary kids sometimes are there waiting for their parents to come pick them up. So we were having coffee, and we were just chatting with this group of junior high kids, and eventually they left. Now about 3 to 4 minutes later, this one kid, he kind of comes running up to the door and practically kicks it open, and he comes running inside, and his eyes are like as wide as dinner plates, and he's jabbing his finger at his shoulder, and he's yelling out, "Tissue, tissue, tissue." And we looked at him like surprised because this Japanese kid is screaming English tissue at us. And so after we recovered, we like shoved our hands into our pockets looking for something for him. Eventually, the guy running the coffee shop gave him a tissue, and this kid just takes it and he just wipes his shoulder disgustedly and then just kind of like walks out as if nothing had happened. I, to this day, do not know what was on his shoulder. I suspect he was target practice for the local birds, but, it's up for debate. It was probably the funniest thing that had happened. We all kind of like broke into laughter after the kid left. It was just really unexpected. What is your favorite food you've eaten? My favorite food would have to be an oyster nabe I had at a potluck recently. Oyster nabe is very simple. Basically, it's just, oysters, Chinese cabbage, mushrooms, tofu, if you're up to it, fish cakes, and green onions. Also, the stock was made out of miso paste, as well as sake and mirin. And obviously, I don't know if I mentioned this, but oysters. The oysters are an important part of an oyster nabe. What is the best advice that you would give to someone moving to Japan? The best advice that I could give to you if you're moving here permanently would be to learn Japanese. And if you're moving here semi-permanently, also learn Japanese. Don't be an idiot like me and not know Japanese coming here. I mean, you can still enjoy yourself and have fun, but just having basic conversations with people is very difficult and involves a lot of thumbs up and crossing your hands in an X gesture to get the point across. You're pretty limited if you can only answer yes or no questions. So learn some Japanese, and going on trips has been very fun. Although sometimes traveling is pretty stressful, so sometimes it's fun in retrospect. You can kind of look back on the trip and think to yourself man, that was really cool. But at the time during it, you're tired as hell and your feet hurt and your back hurts and you've been sitting on a train for 3 hours. But I've been having fun kind of traveling around Japan. Can you recommend any food dishes I should try making? Yes, you should try making an oyster nabe. In fact, I challenge Glenn and Annette's Cow Emporium to make an oyster nabe.